So what we're gonna have in this video, gonna be a very brief history of ketogenic diet and the name, where it comes from, and also the author, so my sources where I get this information. And the third one gonna be the cons and pros of ketogenic diet, who can follow it, who can't. And at the very end, we're gonna have macros. To be more specific, we're gonna talk about carbohydrates and protein. And this is as much as we can go in this video, but this is just part one, as you have seen in the title. The part two is gonna be about the fat and the macros, like vitamin and the minerals. Now, I need to do a disclaimer here just to be clear with you guys, because I'm not a doctor, so I cannot give you treatment for a disease or condition. I cannot give you any medical advice whatsoever. What I'm giving you is simply my journey and simply my research that I found about the ketogenic diet. And it's a lot. So I spent on this thing like 1 month researching, making sense of the big words that I didn't know before. Maybe you know some of them, like insulin resistance or what else? Even a different kind of fat, like monounsaturated and anything like that. Those are like big words, like scientific words. So I kind of knew some of them, but some of them I didn't know at all. So I had to do all the research to find out everything and put them in one video for you guys. But I don't want to waste more time. So now that we got that aside, let's continue with the first thing. That's going to be the history of ketogenic diet. Let's start with the name. The name keto diet. That's a short version of ketogenic diet. Now, why we say keto diet? What's the point of it? Well, the thing is, keto comes from ketone, or ketones in plural. Now, ketones are simply molecules that came from a fat breakdown. And just to mention them, there are three ketones: acetoacetate, which converts into beta-hydroxybutyric acid. And this is the one that is most important, because this is what delivers the energy from the liver to the brain and to the rest of the body. And the thing is, we need to use the ketone and not the fat by itself, because the fat cannot break the barrier the brain has, the wall, let's say. So the other thing is acetoacetate will produce acetone, which is another ketone that simply is used for energy, and if it's cannot be used for energy, it's gonna break down and gonna get out of our system through respiration, breathing, or urine. So the thing is, keto diet comes simply because we are adapting our body on fat, letting our ketones be as our fuel. So we use the fat as fuel, but exactly we are using ketones as fuel instead of using glucose, which comes from the carbs. Very quickly about the history of keto, and keep in mind, if you want to go and search more about what I'm talking to you, you can simply check the description below. That's going to have all the links and all the details that you may want to ask. So make sure you check that. And if you have any question, you can simply comment, and I'll do my best to provide the answer as soon as I can. Now, very quickly. So low carb diet has happened thousands of years ago. Inuit population are a good example of low carb, high fat diet. They are the one who also teach an anthropologist, Stefansson, and we're going to talk about that in a second. So the ketogenic diet went in literature in 1900s. In 1920s is when we have the Russell Wilder coining the term ketogenic diet, and also because he was using it at that time, this diet to treat epilepsy. So he was treating kids with epilepsy by giving them a diet with low carb, high fat ingredients. So the thing is, that is a classic ketogenic diet, not the one that I'm using. Mine is a well-formulated ketogenic diet, and is based on Virta Health organization. It's a non-profit organization. I love them because they were the one that made it more clear to me what ketogenic diet is. And I'm going to give you the links, especially there are 3 links to Stephen Finney, who talks about ketogenic diet. He has a lot of information about it. In 1928, the professor Stefansson, who was the one that was living with Inuit people, and when he come from them to New York, nobody believed that what he was claiming, that he is able to live in this low-carb, high-fat diet, simply because the way he was living was different from the mindset of that time. And the thing is, after he had to participate in an experiment to prove that he was right, and every scientist was telling him that he's gonna fail, he's gonna get sick, the experiment was pretty well documented by the Eugene Du Bois and Walter McCollum, and simply it proved and it documented how much of the macros he was eating, and it was a low-carb, high-fat diet. And later, it was published in Journal of Biological Chemistry in 1930s. Now, in 1972, we have a Dr. Atkins' Diet Revolution, a book talking about low-carb, high-fat diet, and it became quite popular at the time. And then we proceed around 80s when we have the Vermont study of Dr. Finney, and he simply had human subjects proving that they could go under the low-carb, high-fat diet for a few weeks. And what was interesting is because if he was going for 1 week only and no more than that, no more than 3 weeks, then he'll simply prove that this diet doesn't work, because this diet by itself will lower the performance in the first weeks, and then you recover from it, and then you see the benefits that come from it. So we are very lucky. He continued for more than 3 weeks, and we are where we are today. Everybody is trying and researching this ketogenic diet, and for different purposes. Ketogenic diet has not had it easy in history. It was demonized because the fat was something that should be avoided based on the U.S. dietary guidelines. Now the thing is, when you teach the public, when you tell the public so many times, so often, for many years, that fat is a bad thing, everybody's gonna get scared when you tell them you have to eat a lot of fat. They're going to be, oh my God, what about cholesterol? What about that? We have heard this, we have heard that. Well, the thing is, long story short, when you do the science of it, everything falls in place. Now, what happened with United States dietary guidelines? How is it possible that they are wrong? They kind of use the science not to prove. So they have a story. They created a story through few scientific facts instead of proving the story through all the scientific facts that the story can be proven or disproven. So instead of just having one scientific fact and making a story out of it, you have to prove a story with all the science that is required to prove that story. So that's what is happening with the virtual health. They are curing diabetic people through science. They know how one thing happens, and they are going for it, and the science is proving it over and over again. What with the US dietary guidelines was simply, hey, calories. You eat calories, you get fat. You spend calories, you get thin. And this was basically the mindset. And now we have people with problem with obesity and with type 2 diabetic, and the numbers go like over 320 billions in 2018, and that number is still going up. So the thing is, it's just, I was so disappointed when I learned about this. I was hoping to have a source that is that you can trust, but apparently you need to do a lot of research and find out what works, and you have to try that to make sure that it really works. Now, the doctor that I talk about, the ketogenic diet, they have gone through it, and they know what it is like. Science says to have in average we have like 5 liters of blood in our body, and science says the way that we measure our blood glucose, we simply check if we have it like 100 milligram per deciliter. There will be like 5 gram of glucose, 5 gram of carb, of sugar. Let's not get into scientific term. But the thing is, when the doctor measure it, they are expect to see 100 milligram per deciliter. That's the number they want to see. Now the thing is, if in your blood, it's like 5 gram of carbs can be dissolved, and if you get more, you're going to have a spike of insulin, because the job of insulin is simply to use that glucose to make sure that it gets rid from the blood and is used as energy. But here's the thing, after a while, you develop what is called insulin resistance. And insulin resistance is simply insulin not being able to transform this glucose into energy, because the cell gonna be resistant to this insulin. They cannot get any more glucose in them. So long story short, you should not have a lot of glucose in your body. And the mindset was glucose is the fuel that you need to have. And that's why you may hear stories of a person who goes in marathon and ends up as a diabetic person, simply because if you use the glucose as fuel, you're gonna overload the system at some point. So this insulin resistance that spikes up is a vicious circle, because you have more insulin in your body to transform that carb in energy, but the cell's not gonna accept it, not gonna absorb it. So therefore, that glucose is gonna be stored, be converted as fat in your body, so you can use it at a later time when you need. In theory, but you need to spend it. So it is so non-practical. You are just destroying the system you have as given by nature or by God, whatever you believe. You have it right there. Your body is telling you. You have the signs. You can see it, and you're forcing it to do the opposite of what you already know. You're gonna feel hungry and low in energy simply because your body is not converted that energy. So you can say it is a bad source of energy. And what you're gonna do when you're tired and when you can't go, you're gonna get hungry, right? You wanna eat, you wanna get the energy. So yeah, where can we find such a good fuel? So the carbs are not cutting it. What we should have instead of it. And that's how we found out that we should have the fat. We have it right there. Can we use it? Yes. We simply need to have the appropriate level of ketones. What my body needs, what nutrition should I have, what should I do? I have no idea what to do. I mean, where to find the most reliable source. So after some research, I decided to follow the one who showed improvement by putting this their information, by applying the information in real life. And the one that I found that does that are some other sources too, but the one that I liked the most, the one that was more clear and more noble in my perspective, because they were trying to heal people as much as they can and lower the number of type 2 diabetic people. So that was Greater Health. So many authors that I found are from there, but also they are from other places and also from Australia. I'm going to mention you some of them, but of course in the description I'm going to give you a full list of them and their autobiography, so you can get a little knowledge about them if you want to. So as I say, this is very brief. What I care about is simply getting ketogenic diet, and I'm just showing you where I got the information instead of just telling you, hey, do this. So as you can see right here, we have Virta Health authors, and we have the co-founders, Stephen Finney and Jeff Volek, so the first two. Also, we have the name like Sarah Halberg and Amy McKenzie. And on the other side, we have authors and journalists. The most important one here is Tim Knox. He's a very interesting character, let's say, because he has been in both sides as someone who believed that the carbs were the best fuel, and now he believes that the fat is the best fuel. So from a diet of high carb, low fat, he now has changed to low carb, high fat diet. And of course, we have other names and like Andrew Mente and Adrian Sheck. Simply check Nina Teicholz and Gary Taubes. Those are two journalists who cover some very interesting subjects, and those are the subjects that, again, they support a ketogenic diet compared to a high carb, low fat diet. Simply check them out, and it's very interesting how much controversy there is when it comes what we need to eat. It's very interesting. So they cover very interesting subjects. What are the cons and pros of keto? Let's start with the cons. So the thing is, when you start ketogenic diet, you are entering an adaptation phase. So basically your body trying to convert from burning glucose as a fuel to burning ketones, so basically burning fat as a fuel. Now the thing is, while you do that, your athletic performance is going to go down, and you're going to recover it after a few weeks. Every person is different, so it depends. But let's say in an expectation of 2 months to 6 months but everybody is different, so you have to check for yourself. Now, I don't care about athletic performance because I don't have any career in being an athletic performance person, or I don't have any marathon in my calendar to make. So just for your knowledge, in case you are someone who is going to a marathon or something, so keep that in mind. And so the second thing, this is the most important thing actually. You are not supposed to do this if you are in medication. So you may do it, but you have to consult with your physician or your specialist. Now, I say specialist because some of you may have medication about a heart condition or a blood pressure or a liver condition. So if you have any of this, or if you are type 2 diabetic, you need, if you take medication, because usually this condition need medication, if you take this medication or something else, it's better to consult with your doctor. You cannot do this by yourself if you take medication, simply because ketogenic diet is like a medicine by itself. So you are taking like 2 medicines for the same result. And for example, a diabetic person take insulin to lower the glucose in their blood, and they go into ketogenic diet and they're gonna get even lower level of glucose to a dangerous point. So keep that in mind. If you take medication, talk to a specialist and have a conversation with them. Someone may say that they got keto flu, or you may have heard about somebody talking about keto flu. Now, what is keto flu? Keto flu, long story short, it means that you are not doing keto in the right way. So when you are not doing keto in the right way, you are simply having symptoms. May include diarrhea, cramps, stuff like that. You do it right, you'll be fine. So when somebody says, I got the keto flu, that person simply saying, I'm not doing the keto right. And the other thing is when somebody, I've heard a situation, some of them actually, when somebody was referring keto flu as influenza flu. Like they were saying that they got fever, or I don't know, they were describing the symptoms of influenza. There is no way you can get a flu in a diet. Keto diet is a diet, it's food. It's not a virus. The only way to get the virus in your food, if somebody with a virus, somebody sick with a flu, touches your food and you eat it. Now, the thing is, we don't do that in everyday life, so just do not blame keto for flu. There is no such thing. Just do the ketogenic diet right. That's all you need to do. Now, the process of ketogenic diet is something what I'm aiming for. I'm aiming for the weight loss, and expectation is like 7% in 2.5 months, and the 12% I think is like in 6 months, but it doesn't really matter because again, everybody is different, everybody has its own numbers. But the thing is, you can expect much greater weight loss than any other kind of diet. And other benefit is the best way to lose the adipose tissues of the fat that is at the belly fat. Is the best way to lose it because it's simply gonna burn the fat and you're gonna use the fat in you. What else? So that's what I care most about. And the glucose craving. The glucose craving, you're gonna get rid of it and you're gonna replace it with a fat hunger. But keep in mind that a fat hunger, it doesn't happen every few hours. It happens like, I don't know, every few weeks or something like that. What I mean by fat hunger is simply the diet of fat that you eat in the very beginning is gonna be different when you are in maintenance and through that process. It means that at the very beginning, you're gonna eat less fat, and with time, you're gonna raise the fat intake. So that means you're gonna get fat hunger over the time. That is because your body is burning your fat, and now it needs dietary fat. It's a great thing to do because that means the fat is a better fuel, the ketones to be exact, and also you're gonna get rid of it out of your body. So it's cheap compared to the protein one. So it's pretty good to do it. The other thing is it's gonna reduce your inflammation in your body. Now, of course, there are something like dirty keto, which you eating things that do not help in reduce of inflammation, and sometimes it may increase it. So we're gonna talk about this when we started. Right now, I just want you to have a general picture in your mind about ketogenic diet. Other benefits, pros that ketogenic diet has, it reverses the type 2 diabetes, and also you're gonna have less joint pains. Let's understand what the numbers are, what the ranges, what the balance of anything that is needed in ketogenic diet is. Let's start with ketone. Ketone should be from 0.5 to 3 millimolar per liter. And all you do is check it by the ketone strips. And to make this possible, you need to take care of your macros. Macros are carb, protein, and fat. Starting with carb, you need to lower it under 50 grams per day. My suggestion would be to start at 20 grams because that's a good point to increase it or decrease it. Because many people have a different carb tolerance, so you have to find it out. And 20 gram is a good one. If you do the 20 gram and you check what your ketone levels are, that should give you an idea if you can decrease it or increase it. Depends. But for me, I'm gonna start it at 20 grams per day, maximum 30 grams per day. And when it comes to protein, when it comes to protein again, just like carbs, gonna be a constant. And the protein, the good number is 1.5 gram per kilogram. A kilogram is the reference weight, the ideal reference weight, so it's an arbitrary one, so it's just set. It's like a constant. And the thing is, the range is from 1.2 to 2 grams per kilogram. So 1.5 is the best number. And that one covers also when you get sick or exercising. Maybe you may increase it like 1.6, 1.7, but again, do not go over 2 grams per kilogram. So now how you find the reference weight, the arbitrary, that constant that I just talked about? Well, you simply go to the Virta Health. I'm going to provide the link there, and they have a table where you find your gender, your height, and based on that, they show you what is the range of your ideal weight. So I'm going to do that myself, and I'm going to show you the process of it, how I found everything about my numbers, about my what is my protein, what is my carb. And of course, we have fat, but we have to call it right here because fat itself needs more explanation. We have to talk about monosaccharides, etc., etc. Thank you very much, guys. I hope you find some value in this video. And of course, it's just part 1, and it's not a complete information about keto. However, in the part 2, we're going to have a very good understanding of everything, all the numbers, how to find them. And also, from your experiences, I'm pretty sure many of you have an experience in being a ketogenic diet. So you can leave your experience in the comment in section below. I really want to hear your stories. I'm trying to learn as much as I can about the ketogenic diet. So again, don't forget to subscribe and like this video. It really helped me as a beginner in this channel. And see you in the next video.